Natalie loved the University Museum. She loved all the old artifacts, from the ancient tools to the elegantly decorated pottery. In fact, the pottery was among her favorite. She could spend hours gazing at the various creations, imagining the ancient people who created them and used them in their daily lives. It's one of the things that brought peace to her mind when it was troubled, which was more often than not. This day, however, as she stood in the room full of pottery, it did not bring her mind peace, but a measure of confusion. You see, there was something new in the museum that she had never noticed before. Natalie had been to the museum dozens, perhaps even hundreds of times since she arrived at the university, coming at least twice a month, if not more. Never had she seen what she was staring at today. It was so out of place, so strange. You see, in the far corner of the room, above one of the larger potteries, in the ceiling, of all places, was a door. Not just any door, but a green door, with what looked to be a brass handle. Even from the floor, Natalie could tell that there was something etched or carved into the wood of the door, something that shimmered or glistened. Natalie stared up at the door, her dusty blonde hair draped over her shoulders, her blue eyes almost unblinking, as she contemplated why there was a door in such an odd place. Not only why was the door there, but how had she never noticed it before? Natalie startled at a noise behind her. She turned to see an older man in dusty blue coveralls, carrying a ladder into the room. He set the ladder up under a light that was flickering, and with surprising agility climbed swiftly to the top. Natalie turned her attention back to the door, only to hear the man behind her give a short curse under his breath. "Of course I brought the wrong bulb. What a waste of time," he muttered. "Excuse me, ma'am." Natalie turned to see that the man was addressing her. "Could you keep an eye on this ladder for a moment, while I go down to the storage and get a different bulb?" Natalie just nodded, and the old man scurried out of the room. Natalie turned back to the door in the ceiling. She wished she could get a closer look. She couldn't quite make out the design in the wood that she was sure was there. A thought tickled at the back of her mind, and she turned and looked at the ladder, and then back to the door. She would only need a moment, she thought to herself, and quickly pulled the ladder over, being careful not to bump any of the priceless vases that were in the room. Natalie climbed up the ladder, watching the door come closer with every rung, and with each rung the door became more and more ornate. Natalie's breath caught as she finally got close enough to see it. The entire door was covered in intricate carved designs. The lines of the designs seemed to flow with silver hypnotic light. Natalie stared at the door in amazement. She had never seen anything like it. She began to wonder where a door like this could have possibly led to. Curiosity gripped her mind, and she found herself drawn to the door. She reached out towards the knob. Her hand brushed against the cold metal. She felt a buzzing sensation, and then she slept. The old man, dressed in a dusty blue overalls, ambled back into the room carrying a light bulb. He looked around the empty room. The young lady he'd asked to watch his ladder was nowhere to be seen. Not only that, but the ladder was moved clear across the room. He shook his head. "Was only gone a couple minutes. You just can't rely on youth for anything these days," he mumbled under his breath. He moved the ladder back over to the light and quickly changed it. Climbing back down the ladder, he folded it up and carried it out of the room. Never once did he look at the strange door. Nor could he have seen it if he had.